Ciao.
An unprecedented threat to countless millions. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to prevent the...
Say just a couple of words for you really quickly.
Thank you very much. That's Allison Sheridan, everybody, doing what she does. Saying a couple of words when I asked her to, which is nice. It's very nice of her.
I'm obedient.
Chuck counted to 4 yesterday, and then I made fun of him for being able to count to 4. So, well done on you, Allison Sheridan. I would be remiss if I didn't say happy birthday yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
Actually, I would have been remiss if I hadn't said happy birthday yesterday, but, I want to say it publicly because, it's your birthday, and thank you very much for joining us on it.
Well, it sounded like fun to me.
What?
I mean,
your
to
birthday?
hang out with you on my birthday. Why not?
Oh, that's very nice. Well, thanks. Well, I told you, and not to be insulting, I told you that if I had remembered it was your birthday, I wouldn't have asked you because you might have had something better to do. But
I could have chosen not to.
That's
and
true.
I chose to do it.
That's true. Did you also choose to spend part of your day watching the Apple event?
I did. It was really embarrassing. So, I mean, in my I've got a live chat room that I use during my video recording of my show on Sundays. And so I tweeted out that, everybody meet me, in the chat room. We're going to watch the event together. It was in my Slack and everything. 10 o'clock, I'm like, finishing some exercise. I'm ordering my Starbucks and my friend Stephen Getz is so like, are you joining us?
Oh, wow. Nice.
Totally forgot. And I was really looking forward to it.
So I had a thing where I wasn't sure I was going to be able to watch it live because my special lady friend went for her first Fauci ouchie today.
Oh,
went for her first jab. But then we were at the OC County Fairgrounds or someplace. I'm like, I had pretty much resigned myself to I'm just going to have to watch it later. And then they were like that. We were in and out of there, no problem. And so I came back and very bleary-eyed watched it and then went to sleep for 3 hours. Because I don't know if you know this about me, but
you.
Yeah, me at 8 a.m. Yeah, I've stayed up for 8 a.m. more than I've gotten up for 8 a.m. in the past 15 years. And so, anyway. I did get to watch the thing, though. I got to watch it live. And even now, you and I don't know exactly what we're talking about or how. Because part of me says, let's just talk about the, event, part of the event. Part of me wants to say, what was your favorite thing that they announced? I will say it wasn't until, I don't remember when it was I finally hit on the idea that, okay, I know what spring loaded means. It means we're going to get a ton of stuff. And when Chuck Joyner was on the show yesterday leading into the event, I said, so how many things does Apple have to announce to justify saying it's loaded? Like a loaded event, how many things? And Chuck said, 3. I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. So you got the Apple Card family thing. You got the podcast thing, which part of me wants to talk to you about. But I feel like that's going to be something that podcasters are going to be talking about, a lot over the next few weeks. So we don't have to today. Purple iPhone, AirTags, Ted Lasso's return. The M1 iPad Pro, the M1 iMac, the Apple TV 4K. I guess it's only 8 things because in there is also the Siri remote, which is sort of part and parcel with the Apple TV. First of all, is there anything that you are ordering?
Yeah, I've put into my my favorites already to get ready to press the button. That's a trick, right? You hit the little heart. Right. You can't order it, but you can pretend to order it, and then when it says you can't order it, you hit the little heart, and that puts it in your shopping bag, so you're ready to go on the 30th. I'm going to do two Apple TV 4Ks.
Okay.
And it's kind of a flow down thing. Steve got this crazy idea to use an Apple TV as an AirPlay device for our good stereo system. So we have a nice stereo system, but it's old. So it doesn't have any kind of like nice input jacks. And so he's been like connecting all kinds of cables and stuff to your janky, really nasty looking way to do it. So he plugged an Apple TV into it and then he AirPlays to the Apple TV so he can use his Apple Music. And it's a janky way to do it because you actually have to hook a display up in order to do that. And so luckily I've got a 12-inch USB-C display that works over USB power. And so we plug that in, and then you got to bring a keyboard with. It's really, really janky to do it. But we move it between my den and downstairs and back and forth. So for me to watch the event, I wanted it upstairs, but it was downstairs. So mine will go downstairs, and then we just want one. And then we're going to get one for the both the master bedroom and downstairs, and our guest room has an Apple TV 2.
Okay.
I mean, that empty room lives like an animal, you know?
Right. Are you disappointed that it doesn't come in many different colors?
No. But when you get down to the colors, you know that the 27-inch iMac is going to come in black and gray, don't you?
I would imagine.
Because they gave all the fun colors to the 24-inch, and the big one's going to be, that'll be for serious people.
Oh, you see, I'm not ready to talk about the 27-inch iMac yet. Because is it going to be an iMac, or is it going to be an iMac Pro? Is it going to be an M1, or is it going to be an M something else? And then would it be the black and white, or would it be all the colors?
And then this becomes a prediction show, and you've got time to do a lot of those. So we won't go there. But I thought the colors were cool on the iMac, but I don't need an iMac. One of the coolest things I saw in terms of like coolness to the amount of time it got on air was, look, we put in the Ethernet in the power supply.
Okay.
I thought that was really cool.
Why is that so cool to you?
Well, just I've never seen it done before, right?
Yeah,
so instead of having to have an big old ugly Ethernet jack on the back of the display that you never see,
right.
Or having a dongle to be able to attach Ethernet to it, it's just plugged into the power supply that's going to sit on the floor under your desk.
Remind me, please, because I want to go back to something about the Apple TV 4K, but really quickly. It was interesting to me on the, speaking of the power cord for the iMac, to see MagSafe come back, but we're not calling it MagSafe, but it just hooks in magnetically, which is weird because I feel like you still need that more for your laptop, because how often are you walking around behind your desk and accidentally pulling your iMac off the desktop?
That was like just because they know how to do it.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it looked like. I didn't see any reason for that either.
You don't think it heralds, it really can't herald the return of something like that to the laptop though, can it? Because we're dealing with Thunderbolt there, or we're dealing with whatever, the USB thing.
And it's a speculation show.
I know. We're doing that again. I got to do a tiny bit of speculation though. So what is up with putting Apple Care on the Apple TV 4K? There are two things that I'm thinking.
Yeah.
One is because it's never happened before. We've never been able to
that's why
buy.
That question confused me. When I saw it, I went, I don't know.
You haven't been able to buy Apple Care for the Apple TV. And the two things that I'm thinking are either they're thinking, because of course they have the bigger storage capacity as well. Mm-hmm. They're thinking that people are going to be taking this places to, I guess play games is the only thing I can think of, because it's not.
We take ours on travel. We take ours we always take one, like if we're going to an Airbnb or something like that. Okay. Absolutely.
All right. Well, except you're not storing video on that, though. The only things that are being stored, it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, are apps or games, which of course are also apps, but we, separate them out as something else. So is the thinking going to be that we're going to travel around with these? Like, I'm thinking about things like the Nintendo Switch, which I know next to nothing about. No, I'm wondering if kids are going to be putting these, if Apple's thinking is that kids are going to be putting these in their backpacks and taking them places so they can play their games over at somebody else's house, or is it just, people seem to buy Apple Care. Why don't we put Apple Care on this and we'll see if people buy it? Yeah.
Yeah, what all is going to break, and it's so inexpensive at, $179 is not something that's going to break the bank.
That's the weird thing to me. Like what's going to happen to my Apple TV that Apple Care is going to be a thing that I'm going to use unless I'm suddenly taking a bunch of places, which is hard to see happening.
Well, there's break fix, but there's, where you broke it, but there's also just it broke. Right?
Well, if it broke, though, I feel like that's on them.
Well, in what length of time?
Yeah, okay, good point. I don't know. Yeah, and I haven't really looked into it that much. I've more just been surprised that it was even there.
Yeah. I also, I will definitely be getting a 12.9-inch iPad Pro.
Will you really?
Yeah. My daughter was making fun of me. Lindsay said, "Mom, you don't need a new iPad Pro." I said, my iPad Pro is like 2.5 years old. I totally need one. And I said, she was complaining about it. And I said, well, wait a minute. You seem to be okay with the fact that I'm going to replace my perfectly good 16-inch MacBook Pro with an M1 because you know you're getting my hand-me-down. But when it's your brother who's getting my hand-me-down iPad Pro, you don't think I need a new iPad Pro.
That's kind of funny.
So,
what's the story with the M1? And the other thing, well, no, talk to me about that first. What's the story with the M1 on the iPad?
So the iPad Pro is going to M1.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Yeah. And
that part of the story I got.
Okay.
No, but what does it mean to move us off of the A series processor? And are we looking at, is the iPhone 14 going to have an M1 at that point? Because it feels like it's too soon to go for the 13. But are we literally moving? Okay, but here's the thing. They didn't say, and I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, well, it's a powerful machine, so they're putting the most powerful processor. And then Ben Beharin and somebody else were talking on Twitter. No, it wasn't Ben. It was Michael Gartenberg and somebody else were talking on Twitter. They were like, okay, neat, but why? Like, why are we doing this? What demands that kind of power? Now, my immediate thought when I was watching it is, can we stop saying that they're merging? Can we stop saying that they're not merging the operating systems? Because they are. And I know they don't want to say they are. And I know we're talking about different form factors, but they're merging the operating systems. You can't stand up there and say, here's an M1 iMac. And what's great is it runs all of these iPad apps and all these iPhone apps, but we're not merging the operating systems. We are. It's just a different form factor and a different way of using the same thing at this point, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with you, but listen to what they said about, they said 50% faster than the previous iPad Pro. Mm-hmm. So that's not an A12X Prime.
Right.
That's a massive improvement on something that was already massively powerful.
Right.
They're putting an 8-core CPU and 8-core GPU in it. So that means the iPad Pro 12.9-inch will have a faster more cores than the bottom of the line MacBook Pro, right? Because they did 7 cores on that instead of 8 on the bottom of the line. Okay. So the iPad Pro is going to be a crazy, crazy machine. Mm-hmm. Not like it wasn't already crazy, but you listen to what they said about what you could run on it. They talked about Vectornator, which is a vector design program. They talked about Affinity Photo. They talked about Lightroom. They talked about video
Twitter.
Editing. Yeah, they did, but they threw out the big, heavy CPU and GPU intensive applications.
Yes.
So that's why M1.
Okay. Well,
why is that?
Well, it feels to me like, and it's okay because it can be spun. And when I say it's okay, I don't care. It has never bothered me that they were merging the operating systems. As long as they don't dumb down the Mac operating system to a point where it's Fisher Price, I don't really care. What I was seeing when I saw that, or when they started talking about the M1, started talking about all the different things that you can do, and really introducing a machine that is as powerful as a lot of laptops that we've owned, probably as more powerful, right, than a lot of laptops that we've owned. All I saw was ubiquitous computing. Not ambient computing, but ubiquitous computing. I saw it getting to be, because remember how neat it was that we had apps for things on our phones, and then we could move to the Mac and all of that information would be there, but it would be a different form factor. It's getting to the point now that whatever surface you're in front of is going to perform the way you expect it to perform, which is not quite as profound as I wanted it to sound, but I think you get what I'm saying. It's getting to be less of a trade-off.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I'm not sure I'd agree with that because I still feel distinctively handicapped when I'm working on my iPad Pro. I do a lot on it. I use it for a lot. I use it all day, every day. It's beside me at all times. But I feel definitely handicapped when it takes me 15 minutes to drill down and get into files to go get a file I need to work on, or any kind of moving data from one app to another is still a nightmare. It's clumsy. It's difficult. Yeah, there's so much I can't do on my iPad. I feel that all the time. So I don't feel like they're merging enough. If that's where you're going.
And you don't think that that putting the not Thunderbolt port, but whatever the USB-C port, you don't feel like putting the M1. Okay, the Thunderbolt port.
Thunderbolt, yeah.
Okay, so putting the Thunderbolt port and the M1, you don't feel like that is that merging that I'm talking about?
Oh, no. I'm not saying it's not merging. I'm saying that I don't see that I get what I expect when I get there. I expect the iPad Pro to be able to do it better than it does.
Well,
it does really fast and it does it really well, but it's got a bunch of pieces. I mean, trying to get slide over to work, there's just things that are clumsy that are not smooth and polished, and like I would like to see that feature on the Mac. There's a lot of stuff that's like, man, you got to get some Mac stuff over on the iPad.
All right.
I do have a question for you on that Thunderbolt port, though.
Go ahead.
I swear, I think I hallucinated it. Didn't they say that you could put the Pro XDR display connected to an iPad, like driving an iPad? An iPad driving it?
I don't know. I missed that part.
I thought I heard that, and hopefully I just hallucinated it, but I thought that's what they said. And
doesn't the iPad come with a Pro XDR display now, though? Isn't that the whole point?
Right,
yeah.
right. I mean, it is the display resolution and
so you
nits and all that.
Drive two of them?
Well, but it would just be an iPad screen 31 and a half inches in diagonal.
Can I tell you something hilarious really quickly?
Yes.
The 10-year-old in the house, her only familiarity with the Mac is my laptop and my special lady friend's laptop. And so when she saw the iMac, she said, "Oh, they're like making your laptop, but on the desk." And I was like, "Oh yeah, right, because you're 10."
My first thought of that was an iPad.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it looks like a giant iPad to me.
I'll tell you honestly, and I know this goes back to the whole, are we merging the things? I 10% of me expected them to say, and when you reach up and touch it.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying, I'm just saying whatever. So there's a lot of other stuff that we didn't get to, but we're getting close to time, and I want to talk to you about the event itself. This is our, fourth virtual event? Well, fifth if you count WWDC. Sense of humor about it, really sexy. They took us outside, which they haven't done much. I mean, a lot of times we've zoomed from one part of the campus to another, but Tim Cook was outside this time, walking around,
He was also Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he was. I actually love that. It's funny because I got a message from a friend of mine who was like, I was trying to figure out what young Andy Dick was doing breaking into Apple campus, and then. Yes. Anyway, it was pretty good. It's kind of funny, too, because I saw a write-up that was like, ooh, it was like a heist movie. No, it was like Mission Impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying, he took the mask off and everything. Come on.
And it was poorly done when he took his mask off. The conversion of his face, like it looked really like they didn't spend a lot of time on that effect. Yeah. I thought.
All right.
But I liked it.
It was clever enough,
yeah. I was exhausted by it. That's my biggest reaction. I got a
I'm sorry, wait. Mocha. Exhausted by that portion or exhausted by the whole event? Yeah.
Whole event.
Well, it was spring loaded. I don't know if you heard, but there were 8 or 9 different things announced.
I normally take about an hour and a half to 2 hours to drink a grande mocha, but it's my birthday, so I had a venti, and at the end of the event, I had drunk the whole thing. So I drank it roughly almost twice as fast as I normally would have. And I was like, this is really, wow, this was great. This was a lot of information. This is amazing. I was hyperventilating at the end of it. I found it exhausting to pay attention to that much that fast.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've stacked macOS Ken. By the time people hear this, of course, I'll either be in the middle of writing it or they will have already heard macOS Ken. I've stacked macOS Ken, and I'm already tired, having not even started writing it yet. Just thinking about, how much stuff there's going to be. Plus, there's reactions and there's things, and geez, Allison, I gotta go. I got too much stuff to do.
I'm sorry to have taken so much of your time.